G'day everyone, what's going on? Today, we're diving into another writing challenge. So this one has come from Evan Writes. I will leave his stuff down in the description. This one is basing a short story around a song title. Now, I grew up with music, playing in multiple bands. My old man was a musician, that's where I got it from. And yeah, music was kind of who I was growing up. So this was difficult to try and narrow it down to just the one song. But I have gone with Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd, which in my opinion is one of the best songs ever written. It's just absolutely beautiful. Now, this writing challenge, you have to base the story around the title, use the last word in the song as the last word in the story, but this is where it gets interesting. At around 250 odd words, I shall be messaging Evan for him to completely destroy my story. Yes, that's right. I'm going to have this beautiful story going based around Wish You Were Here, and he's going to then message me something and I have to put that in. So yeah, I'm going to watch this beautifully crafted story from such a beautiful song just fall apart and be destroyed and... But anyway, let's start writing so Evan can destroy my hopes and dreams. So the story is written. Let's just jump straight into it. Let's get this over like a band-aid. You just rip it off. Let's get this over and done with quick, shall we? Here we go. The day was finally here. The day I never wanted. I knew it was coming, but for so long I'd been living in complete denial. It had been 2 weeks since my father passed away peacefully in his sleep. Well, peacefully for us. How do we really know what happens when someone dies in their sleep? Do they wake up in extreme pain right before they kick the bucket? Or do they sleep through the whole thing? I guess we'll only know when our time comes. My mother came in to help clear out his house, despite the fact they'd been divorced for quite some time. I felt as though she'd always loved him, even after everything that had happened between them. I walked up the driveway and paused at the door. I hadn't been here for quite a while. I'd been really lazy over the last few years and hadn't come to see him as often as I should have. And now it was too late. With a tear rolling down my cheek, I opened the door and walked inside. I had no idea where I was going to start. After 73 years on this earth, he had accumulated quite a lot of stuff. Most of it was junk that would be thrown away, but I'm sure there were some hidden gems lying around. I sifted through some boxes that were tucked away inside his wardrobe and found a leather-bound journal in the bottom. This thing looked like it had to be at least 50 years old. I opened it up and noticed that the writing was recent. Every page of writing had a date written up the top. I flicked through until I reached the last entry. It was dated the day before he died. I began reading what sounded like a 12-year-old girl's diary. Dear Diary. I've gone to like 300 words, but it's hard for me to condense down to 250. So, I have sent Evan a message and he has replied very promptly, may I add, which I appreciate. What I don't appreciate, however, is the wrench that he has given me. I had this beautiful, nice story going, and then I get this. 1 second. Every living creature in your story mysteriously turned into fire-breathing worms of varying sizes. What? So what was a nice story is now about fire-breathing worms of different sizes. Well, I've only got 2 characters. Technically 3, but one's dead and gone. So I've got 2 characters, so that kind of works in my benefit. But let's now go back and let's finish this off. I'm going to finish it off for you. It's just going to be, boop, here's the story. For me, I'm going to sit here and scratch my head for a little while and work out what the hell I'm going to be doing with fire-breathing worms in this story. Yay. Thank you, Evan. You're so generous. I have a confession to make. No one knows any of this, but I need to tell someone. I have put a curse upon this journal. In the event of my passing, a terrible curse shall befall all those in my abode. Under the writing was a picture of what looked like a worm. I took the diary to Mum and asked her if she knew anything about this, but she was nowhere to be seen. I called out for a few minutes before giving up. She had completely vanished. I sat down on the dining table and looked through the journal. Everything else appeared to be regular journal entries. Why was the last one so weird? I suddenly felt a burning sensation in my feet. I quickly jumped off the table, expecting it to turn to pins and needles as the blood flowed through my legs properly. Instead, the burning rose through my legs and up into my stomach. I burped and a small puff of smoke came out. Was I beginning to spontaneously combust? I thought it'd be much quicker than this. The burning rose to my chest and down my arms. I watched in horror as the skin on my arms began to melt away and pool at my feet. Sweat began dripping from the end of my nose as I stood frozen to the spot. I watched as the sweat fell to the melted skin that lay on the floor. I looked around, trying to scream, but only exhaling smoke. Mum would surely be around here somewhere and be able to help me. I'm not sure how, but she would know. Mums always know. My legs began to weaken and I buckled to my knees. I looked down and noticed that my lower legs had completely melted away, bones and everything. My shoes were now floating in the pool of goo that my leg stump stood in. This was it. I was about to join my father on the other side. This is how I die. From whatever this is, whatever is happening now. I look to the roof and my head falls off my half-melted body. Somehow I'm still conscious as I watch the rest of my body melt away. I'm now a head sitting in a puddle of goo. How did this happen? Was this the curse that was in the journal? My hair started to fall out and some of it went into my mouth. Hair mixed with the goo. The taste was absolutely disgusting and made me throw up. Then, something truly bizarre happened. If melting away wasn't strange enough. Buried deep within the vomit was a worm. Was me. Somehow, I'd become a worm, or my consciousness had been transferred into that worm. I floated around in the vomit and goo, trying to work out how to move on my own. Slowly, I worked it out. Slowly, I came to grips with the fact that I had turned into a worm, somehow. I turned around to see another worm crawling on top of what used to be my skull. "My son, what have you done?" asked the worm, who I presume was my mother. "I read from one of Dad's journals and then all of a sudden this happened. I'm scared," I said. The worm that I assumed was my mother crawled over to me, coughing up small balls of fire as she slithered down what was left of my skull. "I don't know how to fix this. Your father would have known. I wish you were here." So there you go. There's my story. I hope you liked it, tolerated it, could sit through it. Any of those will suffice. I'm not picky. Anything will suffice. If you managed to get this far along in the video, thank you and well done. Congratulations, you deserve a medal. Yeah. So yeah, that was. I had to channel my inner R.L. Stein there to get this story, and I dig it. Honestly, I liked where it ended up having to go, and yeah. So that's my little story based on a song title. So yay. That was fun. That was actually a lot of fun. So, Evan, thank you for tagging me in this challenge. I hope in the future, throughout the year, there's going to be many more challenges to take on top of my 12 stories in 12 months challenge. So thank you for joining me. Hit the subscribe button, give it the little thumbs up there, leave a comment, and I'll see you soon.